Hello, my name is Nathan Cook. I'd like to take a second to welcome you out to Vista Talks Tech. No PowerPoints allowed. This looks like a PowerPoint, but I made sure from a marketing department that it's like a JPEG or PNG or something like that. So I just want to make sure you know we're not lying to you coming out of the bat. But really the reason we started this series is because we want to, if you're anything like me, you've sat through a lot of vendor meetings, vendor demos, and you just get PowerPoint to death. And you feel like you leave there kind of, your eyes are covered over a little bit. You don't know what just happened to you. So we want to really make a series of webinars that's designed to empower you guys and designed to be able to have you bring questions to the table and get asked in a format that is more engaging, more exciting, and we can really get to the point and add some value to you in that way. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce, actually, I'm going to let Stephen introduce himself because he knows himself a little bit better than I do. So if we could have you pop up, hopefully you're still here. If not, there's going to be a really awkward conversation.
Of course, I'm still here.
Okay, good.
And in fact, I look quite a bit better than that. I don't know where that picture came from, but anyway.
We have detectives that find pictures of people for.
Well, you remember fisheye lenses? Yeah, that's what it looks like. Anyway, I'm Stephen Mulvey. I'm an advisory systems engineer in the global distribution group. I have Ingram Micro as my only customer, as it happens, and I have them in North America and Latin America, which is obviously Central America, South America. So I've been around a very long time. This is my 45th year in IT, and I've done a lot of other things, tech support, sales, everything. But now I am the tech support. When you ask Nathan a question and he can't answer it, he asks his Ingram rep and he can't answer it, they ask me. So I'm hoping we'll enjoy this. It's pretty casual. We're casual people. Okay, I don't want to be all like pain in the ass, typical SE, switch A turns on light bulb B. No, I'm going to tell you how the thing fits in your environment.
Just for clarification, Ingram Micro is a tier 1 distributor for Dell. So as we work with people, Dell and Ingram are like neck and tight in working to distribute their product. Just to give some of you who may not be familiar with that name out there. But let's dive into it. And first question here. It's a good one. It's a pretty broad one, but what is PowerStore, right? And what makes it unique in the marketplace? Because there's obviously a couple of storage vendors in the market. And so why PowerStore?
Okay, that's a really good question. PowerStore is a general purpose storage device in that it will do a lot of different things. It's kind of a chameleon type thing. You can put, for example, security cameras into it. You can put Unix data into it, file data. It does all three types of data in the same group. So you can use Unix, which is block. You can use Windows, which is file, and you can use vVols from VMware, okay, or any other virtual volumes. It can do all three in the same thing. It expands both up and out, which we call scale up and scale out. And if you think of what is scale up is a train pulling cars over the Rockies. The more cars you have, the slower it goes. Many of our competitors use only scale up. We also use scale out. We add more engines. It's like an underground or a subway system. Doesn't matter how many people are in a subway car, as long as you have more cars, it goes just as fast. That's the theory. And it works very, very well. Scale up, scale out. Expandable, bargain priced entry level numbers, many models of different varieties, but it's very attractive pricing and a very, very good box. We have many, many customers. It's been about 2 years. And I think we've sold just over 100,000 of these things in 2 years. So good product.
Wow, that's impressive. And that kind of leads you into the next question is this a sufficient solution for, the SMB, smaller mid-market? Like, how does this scale, not only from a standpoint, obviously, of what you're looking at capabilities, but, cost? Is this something that someone in the SMB space should be looking at? Is it affordable?
Right, and one of the most important things about our cost system and the way that it works, we have a thing called smart value and or tailor-made in the United States. And this is a fixed box that can be added onto. So it's a starting price, and it's a very attractive number, as you know, Nate. And we give big discounts. So for a small business, you would start with a smaller model, possibly a 500 or even a 1200, which is the next model up. And I should go through that: 500, 1200, 2400, or 2200, 3200. And the biggest one is a 7200 or 9200, I should say.
So you're recommending everyone get the 7200, right?
Well, I want everybody to do the biggest one, obviously. But no, I want everybody to, be happy with what they have. And I don't believe that you need to be oversold to be happy. Okay.
That's so true.
I think the opposite is true. So yes, it fits and it's expandable. As I said, up and out. All of the models are expandable up and out.
Okay, great. So you said the 500 up to the 7200?
No, the biggest one is a 90. I think the 9200 disappeared. My friend Hyder down here can remind me of that, but I'm pretty sure the 9200 vanished. It was getting pretty crazy. And Hyder is the guy that talks about money. I'm kind of like the, as in England, my man will see you about the money.
Yes. It's like Oz in the background here on our collaboration side.
The sweet spot is definitely the 500T, 1200T. That's what we see a lot of customers grab onto. It's perfectly positioned. As Stephen said, you can scale out and scale up as you like. So it's a good starting point.
Thank you, Oz.
Right.
Yes, just sneaks out behind there. Thank you, Hader. I appreciate that. I guess going into that too, how complex is the solution? Is it easy to manage? Do I need to be someone that's been in the industry as long as you to understand this? Learning curve, stuff like that. So, can you speak to that from a manageability standpoint?
It is remarkably simple to manage. I've never been a storage admin in my life. And I can create volumes, I can move volumes, I can add to volumes, and I can show you if you like. Do you think that's a good idea, Nate? Because I have this.
Let's just don't go into over in the weeds mode.
Let's take a quick look. This is how simple it is. And you see the security. The customer sets the username and the password and all that sort of thing. But in this case, I have a very simple password and a very simple login, because I think it's important. Now, if you look here, look, all of a sudden the screen's full of stuff I don't understand. But like all of our other products, we go red, yellow, etc. for alerts. We do block and file, as I said, and there's both in here. This would be a Unix group. This would be a file group. And if, for example, I want to see, I want to see a volume. I click here, watch this, bang, up it comes. I can move this over so you can see we name the files like a storage admin and say, geez, I wonder what's going on with my customer relationship volume. And you see right here, it's 62% full. And this will show you, because I just turned this on, it'll show you the data being used, the historical usage in a very simple to understand graph, right? And are there any alerts on this? No. And what are we doing? What's the performance of this? 6.5. I mean, look at how simple this is. And we can just go, wait, I got to move you out of the way here. we can just go back to the dashboard, and let's find something that's on the watch list as an example. This SAP HANA volume here, the data volume. Why is that on the watch list? Because it's 85% full. That means we're going to run out of space. And this will let you know with not only emails, but alerts, and it'll even text you. This, by the way, is a Windows-based program. You can run this from a telephone if you want, from a smartphone, and you can manage from anywhere. But you can see this is telling me I'm 85% full. That would be a cause for concern. So what should I do about that, right? Well, what I probably want to do is go over here and figure out what's going on with that volume. But a simpler way is to take this volume and just add on to it. And it's very, very straightforward. We won't do that right now because that takes a little bit of time. But if I wish to, I could actually, go to this volume here in volumes, and I can find it. It's SAP HANA, right? And go ahead and, well, I'm on the wrong machine, but that's okay. You get the idea. And I can add on this file system and this volume and the volume groups, and there'll be the SAP one, which is going to be this guy right here. And then I can find that it's 50% used. If I just wanted to add to this, and I can change the name of it also, by the way, very quickly. So you can see this is not a very difficult box to manage at all. We'll stop there because we can go on with that for 2 hours. We're not going to do that, but it's very straightforward. I picked it up.
If I need to add volume to that, say I don't need to buy a new disk or anything like that. As long as it's available, I can reprovision it.
If there's room on the disk, you just say, okay, create volume. We can do that if you want. Want to do that?
We can look at it real quick. And then too, if I need to buy new drives for it, right? How do I get those added to the volume? Do I have to like go in and recreate everything?
You just plug them in, it auto discovers them. So for example, here's volumes, right? And create, and I create one called Nathan, why not? And I say,
my own volume, this is exciting.
This is demo, right? We're calling it demo. We're making one. How big do we want it to be? Let's make it, I don't know. We'll make it 5 gigs. And we'll have automatic placement because why not? This thing's smarter than I am, and it'll figure out the best place to go. I can associate it with a volume group. And if I want to do that, I just, here you go. I'll just pick one. See how easy this is? There's nothing to this. What's the policy I want to use? And policies are set up, okay? I can show you that later, the protection policies, but I just say finish. And I say, what does it say? Policy protection 2. Yeah, go. And it'll go off and do that. You can see it doing this. It's at 5% already. Literally, I walk away and do whatever else I want. It's going to do this in the background. Dead simple. That's done. So if I go to volumes, wait a minute. I got to just move. I have to keep moving your picture away. If I go to volumes,
don't blame you.
Yeah, well, it happens. I go to volumes, hello, and I find Nathan, which should be here, there. And there you are, all done, okay? All set, no data because we haven't put anything in it yet. Okay, no snapshots, no nothing, but it's done. And if I want to do that, I can map that to a host group. And I just pick one, okay? Go ahead and map it, etc. Dead easy, nothing to this.
That's amazing. So if I'm running out of space on the array overall, I don't need to buy an expansion necessarily if I have room in the array, or I don't need to do anything special. I can just buy some of the approved drives and put them in there, and it'll provision them.
Right, exactly. You can buy a single drive at a time if you like, and this will auto balance as well. It does automated tiering, tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, which is data I'm using today, like today's email. Tier 1 being email from 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Tier 3 being an archive or whatever. Tier 2, you're going to call that any email from last year, like last year's sales kickoff meeting. You're not obviously going to be accessing that for some time to come. And so it's a very clever, very simple thing. Now, I want to compare this to the Unity box, which was the previous and still available, very good machine, but it's far more difficult to do these things. As we advance, our software is advancing, and this is basically a software-defined box.
I love it. Let's hop on to the next question here. How do you move data from different file systems, right? So, yeah.
That's simple enough. You can just do a file-to-file copy. It's very easy.
Control-C, Control-V?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But if you wanted to, when you're saying from other file systems, do you mean from other boxes or just from across the machine?
Either from across the machine, or let's say I have a HPE MSA right now, and I want to move to a PowerStore. How do I get my data over to a PowerStore device?
Okay, you know what? This demo is a smart thing for me to key up.
Yeah, I guess just keep it up.
As it's turned out. So let me just show you. The simplest thing you can do, for example, okay, we go back to the dashboard, right? We go to storage. we go, wait, no, not storage, wait, migration, my mistake. So we go to migration, we hit this, and we say, what are the migration and import, for example, external storage, which would be somebody else, okay? In this case, because this was in our lab in Boston, we had our stuff. But here you go, here's an equal logic, right? Which is a totally different type of machine. And I click on this equal logic box, and I say, for example, here's more, verify and update or manage. I can manage that storage from this software if it's a Dell product. I can't manage, obviously, HP. But if I had HP, I would say import storage like that. And it would say, where do you want to put it? All right. And this is what's on, these are the volumes that are open. Host not, this is not because I only had one host when we made this up and when I did this stuff. But if you look, this is its IP address. And I say add to volume group, add a host mapping, and you just click, and then bang, down at the bottom, which I gotta move you again, it's gonna say next. Okay, well, we can do it, right? Let's just do it. Let's just say, okay, we're gonna add a host. We're gonna do this. We'll say type, okay, volume, okay, next. It's just next, done.
I feel like I could do this.
I know you could. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate the vote of confidence.
No, really. Honestly, everybody on the call, as I happen to be an expat Canadian, and as we say in French, it's a morceau de gâteau, a piece of cake. By the way, they don't say that, but they laugh when you tell them that.
Oh, that's
they
great.
Figure it out.
Yeah, so it looks like it's really just point and click, a couple different things, and you can move that data over.
Now, once it's up and running, and it's a very simple installation, although I would advise you to use Dell to install it or Nathan's services because we have the expertise. And sometimes, there'll be software at a funny level on one of your programs, or you're running something weird. You need to get that right in the beginning. But once it's right, oh yeah, hokey smokes, it's a snap. If you want to do a code upgrade, it's a snap. You just the same thing. You just go in there and say, okay, download the code I need and go. And it'll do it in the background while it's running. This is an advantage of PowerStore over some of our competition who will tell you that they have an active and standby controller. In fact, the biggest competition to this has that. I'm not knocking them. We used to do that. Okay. And they have a business. They have people working for them. They obviously are successful in the market. Good for them. We have 2 active controllers, which means I have twice as many paths active at any time to any kind of file system you want to get to. There's no waiting. The other thing is when I want to upgrade it, there's a common buffer in between. I bring one down, I upgrade that one, I bring it back up, I bring the other one down, I upgrade it, I bring it back up, completely seamless. Everything's still running, all your applications and everything.
So yeah, so that running in a degraded state is the same as the other one running at a full capacity, right? That's
right, because very good, because you're only using one controller and so are they. But it's only very quick. We don't take a lot of time to do. It's not like an overnight.
Yeah, it's crazy how when marketing can put spins on things, but when you really think about it and talk to people, it changes the perspective.
It's only logical. You go to a football game and there's one door to get in the stadium, or there's 2 doors to get in the stadium. Yeah. Once you're scaled out, by the way.
Or you go to a football game and there's one bathroom.
We've all been in those situations. Now you got 8 doors, right? Which is to 4. So that actually wasn't part of that question, but I think it's worth knowing.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. So how well does Dell Storage play with a multi-vendor environment? Let's say I'm really interested in PowerStore, but I have Lenovo servers or HP switching or something like that. How does PowerStore play with other people?
Because we use a common protocol, all of us, HP, Lenovo, IBM, everybody who's in the server type environment, right? Everybody who's not in the mainframe environment, that's a different environment. That's different stuff. But in a server environment, honestly, in a file server or a block server environment, everybody's using the same protocol. We're either using fiber channel, which is quick, and by the way, incredibly safe and worth looking at. It can't be hacked because it doesn't have an IP address. Or iSCSI, which is the more common protocol. And many times I'll hear, well, we were EMC and EMC was late to the iSCSI. But what most people don't know is EMC wrote the iSCSI protocol, released it to the IEEE, and we waited 4 years while everybody else suffered making products till it was working. And then we came back with it, but it was ours. So we understand that protocol. So everybody's using that protocol, everybody, as a target. And for other vendors, like software vendors, if you're trying to run VMware, I already told you we got vVols, so that's good. And guess who owns VMware until I think we still do. I don't know if that ever went through, but you know, it's and Veeam can use anything as a target. It's a good thing about Veeam. And I'll be honest with you, we sell backup software, right? But I've never heard of anybody saying, you know what, let's just rip out our backup software and go somewhere else, right? Nobody does that. It's like nobody does a tech refresh on their network. Dude, I mean, literally no one tech refreshes a network. They keep adding stuff, right? Nobody does that.
Yes.
I'm not going to knock anybody else's backup software, Commvault, Veeam, Veritas, any of these guys, but they can use us as a target.
No, that makes sense. And that kind of goes right into my next question is, you know, what are some of the key integrations? How well does, you know, PowerStore work with, you know, cloud, you know, backing up and, you know, working with the cloud platforms?
Well, absolutely. The thing is, once again, with a common platform, right, with a common iSCSI, you know, or even a fiber channel over IP protocol, which is common, everybody's available to everybody. We have special built-in stuff for cloud, you know, just dumping stuff to the cloud. And there's a whole other set of products involved. And we have our own cloud, obviously, but we also deal with the public cloud, even with our own cloud, which is called Apex, but we're not going into that right now. But we do, but Apex actually uses Dell hardware because it's ours. And we can do private cloud or public cloud or semi-private cloud, you know, the usual. And we are sitting, by the way, PowerStore sits in the cloud at Amazon. The PowerStore protocols are up there. That software is up there so that you could actually run using whatever they're using, storage, and still run your PowerStore application. So yeah, it totally integrates with cloud.
Okay, so whether I'm using AWS, Azure, Google, you know,
yeah, we don't care which one. It doesn't matter. Because all the cloud protocols are basically designed to do is, everybody's probably seen Spaceballs where they're vacuuming the environment. They're kind of doing that with your data, right? They're collecting all your data in a vacuum. And it's really cheap to give it to them. Yeah, but it's not so much to get it back. So
yeah,
even though you want to go 100% cloud if you're a small business, it might be smart, even if it's not this product, if this product's too much, even a less, you know, somewhat lesser automated product like ME5 or something that we also sell, or even anybody else's, you'd be smart to have the really core data that you're using every day on-prem. It's way cheaper than banging things back and forth from the cloud.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people that have, you know, been super excited about the cloud, and, you know, you get promised certain things, but then the bill comes and it's a little different than they were promised.
Well, yeah, I could tell a joke, but I'll lose my job. But anyway, there's a really good joke which I'll tell you later on.
Oh, perfect.
about it being the demo. You might even know that one. Bill Gates goes to hell and he says, well, why is this happening? He said, well, that was the demo, right? So, but the cloud looked really good in the front, right? But gosh, you know, it can be very expensive, especially if you're running like an OLTP business and you're doing constant transactions. Not so great. Backup, awesome, right? Perfect place to put a very good place. But there's no security in the cloud. You've still got to buy all the security software, and anti-DDoS, and anti-phishing, and all these things have to be purchased.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So coming up with a hybrid strategy is figuring that out. It's the name of the game. It's not easy.
No, it's very difficult, which is why you need, he's over here for me, why you need guys like Nathan to help you understand how to go to that road, because it isn't simple.
No. And if you don't plan for it, then you're going to lose a lot of money. At least
and it may not even work.
That's true.
Or it might
be losing more money.
No, right? If it's slower than what you have now, and that wasn't your plan, nobody says, you know what, I think I need to slow my business down a little. Nobody wants to do that. So it's very important to hire the best consulting firms you can find. Vista is really good at this.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
No, it's true.
I appreciate that.
My nose is not.
Yeah, your nose isn't growing, so I think we're good. How does Dell PowerStore handle data protection and security, which is a great transition we're talking about there?
Okay, there's a number of different ways, particularly in the latest products, which is level 3.5 is the latest. We started at 1.0, we upgraded to 2.0, 3.0, now 3.5 is right now, basically. And there's a software program that runs within the machine. It's actually hardwired into the machine in the firmware as well. When we make one of these things in a factory, every single component is identified. It is put into a table. I know this seems weird, but who knew, right? When the box arrives at your shop and we run it up, we make sure that that table is the same, that no one has put another component. And I know this sounds wacky, and who knew? I didn't even know. And I was in cybersecurity with the Israelis in the past. So, I know about this. People were buying massive loads of servers. Let's say you buy 10 servers. Well, somebody sees that and they see the shipping label. They take one out and they put theirs in. You think you're getting the same thing, which you are, right? It'll still be, let's say, a Dell server, a Lenovo, whatever. It shows up, but they've put their code in it and they just wait. They don't have to do anything. You run it up in your business, and they have a back door to your business. This is happening. I didn't know that.
Wow.
We are the only ones that are doing this. Okay. We are the only ones, and everybody's going to do it, because who knew people were doing this level of really, it's clever and nefarious, but who knew anybody was doing that? So we're doing that. We also have, as I said, a secure login. We have silos. The system administrator can go blah, 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 bam. We can set protocols, who can get to what. We don't want everybody going to finance information on the disk drives, right? We don't want that. What we really want, and by the way, I forgot to mention in the beginning, PowerStore is all flash. There's no spinning disks in PowerStore. And it's all NVMe, which is a protocol. The old protocol gave you 4 paths to the data maximum. NVMe gives you 128 lanes. So you can see, once again, that's why it's speeding up. It's speeding up more doors, right? More doors, more people coming in and out. But that being said, you can say, like Nathan would be able to get to everything in sales, right? You might not be able to get to everything in finance. The president of the company can get to everything, right? Etc. But you can do that kind of siloing. You also get alerts if somebody makes a change. If somebody says, okay, I'm going to create a disk out of the blue. Yeah, you won't find out about that right away, because it'll send an email, a text message, and everything to the system administrator or any other email or IP address that's set up. So that's going on. So that's secure. Overall, we also do data at rest encryption, which is, as soon as the data is in the machine, parked on the disk, it's encrypted. And it's not encrypted like 13579. It's encrypted where it's spread out in all sorts of places. And even if somebody physically steals the machine, without the key, they can't put it back together. And the key is not installed in the machine. It's in the server. So they'd have to take your whole data center. Possible.
I guess anything's possible these days.
If somebody's putting bad components in on the fly at UPS, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'd never...
Wacky.
Even thought that was an imaginable thing, but
who knew?
There's nefarious people everywhere, and security, you can never have too much of it. But one of the things I loved about what you said there was, Dell's the only one doing that. Everyone's going to do it eventually, but when you're talking about security, you really want to partner with people that are doing it first.
Right, that's exactly right. And the fellow that was in charge of that group, Adam Cook, who's a personal business friend of mine, also was in charge of the security at the White House, the cybersecurity. Oh, wow. So these are serious guys. We're not, oh great, it's not like shade tree mechanic. Okay. I mean, you got some really good guys working this stuff. And he's now in charge of our AI project. That's another call.
What features are available for data management and protection? So, I guess once you already have stuff up there and running, what does PowerStore do to protect you from the bad guys that try to get in, ransomware?
Once again, data at rest encryption, absolute knowledge of what components are in there. Even somebody like, for example, you had an inside employee who said, you know what, I'm going to flip that disk for this disk because it's got my code. The thing's going to go, hang on, this wasn't in here before. Where did this come from? And it's going to send an alert. Overall, from outside, you have attackers, and everybody's pretty much got that done, right? I mean, you have an anti-DDoS, you've got an anti-phishing program, you've got all kinds of stuff. And sometimes the unbelievable cleverness of people who have nothing better to do than think they're entitled to your life's work, you know, who are hackers. Sometimes they do things that are beyond, you know, comprehension, how they even thought it up. For example, when they stole the movies from Sony, remember they stole that movie about North Korea? They staged that on Nest thermostats and smart TV sets, that DDoS attack, because they're sitting on your IP at home. Do you have a security protocol in front of your thermostat or your television, or now even your refrigerator? No, you do not. So they went in there and all these thermostats and TVs were attacking Sony, and their firewall came down. That everybody figures out, right? We figure out that, yeah, I need, you know,
segment your smart devices from your main network.
Yeah, we got a moat, okay? We got a moat.
Yeah.
Or you use fiber channel, which this can't happen to, which is what, by the way, the big guys are using. They use fiber channel.
For their nets.
Yeah, well, guys like, you know, Bank of America and stuff, they're using that, and NSA. But given that, you know, you're sitting with an IP address, you're always vulnerable in some way. So you have to be on top of it. We have constant security updates. We've got really good security people, and we will try to protect you as much as possible. But it doesn't mean that it's an all-in-one, right? There's no all-in-one. Security, it's like going to the grocery store and you're going to plan a big dinner. You need some of this and some of that and some of this. And I've never seen anybody do an overall, here, this is what it is. But we do the best we can, and I don't believe one of these has been hacked at this time.
No, that's great. Moving on, I'm interested in PowerStore. Let's say, what are my next steps to find out, you know, scoping, sizing? What do I need? How would I do that?
Talk to this guy over here. We also, by the way, there's a lot of depth. Ingram themselves, which is the distributor. By the way, I should have mentioned in the beginning, there are three big global distributors, Arrow, Ingram, Tech Data. Those three companies do about 26% of Dell's business overall. They're the biggest customers in the world for Dell. And they have field technical consultants. These guys are SEs. And by the way, the one that you have is really good. He's an ex-Dell guy. The one in the West is a Dell guy. He was actually my tech support on Unity, and he decided he wanted to try something new. And the one in the East has been doing it forever and a day. He did it at Tech Data in the past, and at Ingram. So it's not just Nathan, and whatever Nathan's resources are, he has a place to go. And he also has a 135,000 person company that will help you. We will always help you. We want to sell this stuff. We don't want this to be impossible, right? I mean, really, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of depth, and we will help you. We will guide you. And there are all sorts of white papers and tech bulletins. But I suggest that you speak to your reseller first, Vista. You speak to Vista first. They will be able to help you to understand it. And if they need a little bit of polishing up on something, they have a lot of depth behind to do it. Right. So, and there are all sorts of examples of this. I actually, for example, one of the things that I have up is the file system on PowerStore pamphlet, which is 61 pages long and goes into absolutely anything you'd want to do and tells you how to do it. So you're not alone. That's the main thing.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And, we love, it's easy to run a live optics, which is just a tool that we can help to figure out stuff. You
should have mentioned that one.
Yeah, I don't know the details on that because I'm just a sales guy, but it's a very easy tool to run. It doesn't cost a dime, and we can kind of help figure out what your needs would be on that as well. So,
and not only that, live optics is actually a system, a software package that runs only, there's no agents or anything. It just goes out and looks, and it analyzes the throughput of data in your data center, or, you know, even if you're a small business, it analyzes the throughput of data. Even if you're using just, you know, a tower PC, it'll analyze the data in there. I've run it on my own laptop, and it says, okay, which file system is being hit the most? Where are the bottlenecks? Why are there bottlenecks? And oh, guess what? It runs on everybody's stuff. It runs on HP. It runs on IBM. It runs on Lenovo. It runs on everything. And it goes out and it looks and it tells you what your system looks like, where your bottlenecks are, where you're running out of storage, where you could increase your network speed, and all sorts of things. And it comes back with a really nice PowerPoint that'll tell you what's going on. I have one, but we won't go into that now because I think we're getting a little bit.
No PowerPoints allowed. We promised.
Yeah, exactly. There's no.
No, I don't. So, would you recommend people doing live optics if they are just kind of looking for a overall look at their data center, even if they're not doing a storage project today?
You know what? Even if they're not doing, even if they're not buying something from me, okay. Even if they're not, okay. So yes, I would suggest that you do that. It's a very, very straightforward program. If we had more time, I would give you a quick demo.
Awesome. And if people here want a demo, we can definitely do that for them down the road.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think my last question before we get into the Q&A and launch the poll here, and this is something that, you know, we see a lot on the marketplace, right, is, you know, the Dell Direct model, right? So I mean, can you talk to me a little bit, like, what's the difference between working with Dell Direct versus someone like Vista IT Group? You know, I think the perception is, if you know, work with Dell Direct always is going to get better pricing. But if you could just kind of help speak to that, I'd appreciate it.
You do not have Dell Direct playing golf with you or whatever. You do not have Dell Direct on speed dial. And if you use Dell Direct and Nathan's not involved in the sale, I think you'll find Nathan's going to be your friend and try to help you and get somebody from Dell, but it's not the same as the relationship that's been built up.
That's great. And two, from my perspective, I've always seen it like you work Dell Direct, you have access to Dell, right? You work through, you know, a partner, then you have access to Dell, you know, because you still have, you know, your rep that wants to work with that. But you also have access to like Ingram Micro's resources. You have access to our resources, and that allows us to help negotiate. You know, I've always seen price parity be same as people that are working with Dell Direct. You know, we've actually gone and beaten Dell Direct on a lot of deals price wise as a partner. So, you know, I like it because you have an advocate for you that's fighting a gorilla of a company. And, you know, I'll be honest, I think Vista IT Group is going to care more about your business and earning that and keeping you happy than, you know, Dell Direct, who's you know, a behemoth of a customer.
So when you're growing their wallet, they're happy with that. You know, they're hands off, and at the end of the day, they're getting compensated. So at Dell, regardless of where you purchase, if there's a core seller assigned to your account, they're going to get compensated regardless of where you buy it from. So if you buy it
from, you mean a Vista IT Group, basically, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like as an example, to clarify that example, if somebody's on the phone in Austin, Texas, and that's who you're going to talk to if you buy direct, you're not going to have somebody front and center, you know, doing this unless you got a pretty big project. That person probably has, as Hyder has intimated, he probably has at least 200 people on his list of, I need to call these people all the time. Nate probably has 30 customers that he calls on. You're one of 30 and not one of 200. You're one of, you know, 30 and not 200,000. Obviously, I work here. I'm not knocking the direct guys, but to be fair, I would prefer to deal, when I buy stuff, I don't know about you, but I buy a lot of car parts, obviously, see all this stuff. I don't buy them from Summit. I'm sorry, I'm sure Summit, you know, they have everything. I go to the local guy because I want that guy to be a business. When I snap the bolt off the head on my engine and I need another one, I don't want to wait a week. Same idea. He's local. He has a relationship with me, and I just prefer to deal with small business personally.
Awesome. I appreciate that answer. You know, we love our partnership with Dell, and we're excited about where it's going and having you guys behind us. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. We'll go through the Q&A. This did go a little bit longer, but I hope you guys found some value in it, and have a great day, and we'll see you at the next one.